You are about to see mutilated corpses, burning tank carcasses, and all out mayhem, brought to you by Frontline Fatalities.
Sup, COH fans, and welcome to episode 79 of Frontline Fatalities, brought to you by the Frontline Network, presented by me, FatalSaint, and my good friend Tommy. What's up, Tommy?
What's up, FatalSaint? We are here to cast our second game of the quote-unquote new patch 2.7 when COH has moved to Steam. This is, of course, Vico. We're back onto the fields of Normandy, and specifically the fields of Angoville.
Good old Angoville Farms, and we do have two great players today playing against each other. Vico factions, Americans versus Wehrmacht. We do have Stephenn on the US side, and who do we have playing for the Axis side, Tommy?
For the Axis, we have the one and only Mr. Sandland.
Mr. Sandland, who everybody knows and loves, and maybe someone actually hates him too. I don't know. I think Deuce kind of hates him. But yeah, good old Stephenn. I've been hassling him for a replay forever and ever and ever, and he finally delivered. So this is what he sent to me in the mail, and it's supposedly to be a very, very good matchup on Angoville. You ready to go, Tommy?
I'm ready.
At the 5 second mark, pause in 3, 2, 1, unpause. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And I do know for basically a fact that you've played Sandland on Angoville in these positions with US and US Wehrmacht as well. What do Sandland favor? Does he go for the good old the cutoff, or does he want to play more defensively on the right hand side, which we've seen other players do? Like Pepsi doesn't really move over to the cutoff all the time if he doesn't feel exactly 100% secure, and he just camps his little 16 fuel there so he can keep on taking.
Yeah, I've played Sandland here countless times. He tends to favor a double bike opening, actually, over here, which is, I believe, well, he's opening with a single bike so far, and actually he's going for a 3 Pioneer opening, so I suspect what he'll do is he'll secure the right, lay a few mines and wire, and then make an aggressive move for the cutoff. In my opinion, that is the best way to play the map. This map is made for cutoffs. You only have to take a very brief look at the mini-map or the tactical map to see just how cutoff-centric this map is. It's very, very punishing, not just for your resources, but also for your pop cap and everything else that goes along with it. And cutoffs just have such a psychological impact on your opponent as well. When he loses his cutoff, he's going to feel compelled to take it back, even if it doesn't actually represent all that much significance. So cutoffs are very, very powerful, and they're definitely what you want to go for on this map. And it is double bikes from Sandland.
Double bikes. I'm gonna love seeing this. So 3 Pio opening with double bikes first from his tier 1 building. What does he usually follow that up with? And I also have to mention that I saw him place that tank trap just by the cutoff house on his own cutoff. So obviously Sandland is well aware that, just as much as he can cut off Stephenn from his resources on the left-hand side, if he focuses on that, he can get cut off himself. So do you tend to use the tank trap, or do you usually wire that off instead?
I do use the tank trap. Some people say it's a bit gamey. It's certainly not realistic, but it is quite effective. Because if you put wire there, then obviously you're just going to get an engineer coming on to cut it at some point. Although Sandland's actually put it a little bit far back.
You can teleport into the house sometimes,
you can actually
the door.
You can warp into the house using a little trick that I might show on TFang Tactics episode one day. But it's possible to warp into the house even with that tank trap there. So generally speaking, you want to place the tank trap just a little bit in front where that little bit of wood sticks out. If you stick it there, it's still possible to warp into the house from there, but it's much harder, and it takes a lot more time, and generally that time could be better spent by your opponent doing something more productive than trying to break the game.
I wonder exactly what they're talking about. Is this the double bike opening?
I think he's talking about the the double
Because I
bike
saw that
opening,
Stephenn,
yeah.
you know, he was protecting his cutoff with the first rifle that he built, and he was just hanging around. He didn't allow the two bikes to start pushing him around. He had nice green cover. He focus fired one of the bikes, did quite a lot of health damage to it, and before the Pyos could get over there to actually repair the bike, you know, he had secured the cutoff and the 16 fuel on the left-hand side. So Stephenn has his income now with 26 fuel income for fuel and 27 for munitions. So, you know, I think Stephenn played that quite well. I mean, he kind of must have known early Pyo loss for Sandland, very early Pyo loss.
That is
and
the
now
danger
he's losing his cutoff.
Of not wiring off this entire this entire right side cutoff is there. I mean, Sandland is playing with a highly mobile opening with the double bike, so perhaps he favors not putting down so much wire and stuff that's going to impede his movement. But generally speaking, it's much safer as there to actually wire off the entrances near that broken down car and in the gap in the hedge there, because otherwise you do get that happening. Rifles can very easily garrison the house, and if you lose the house, it makes things very, very difficult. That house is so pivotal. If you lose it, it's possible to come back from it, but it's very, very tricky.
Yeah, right now Sandland basically has 0 sectors in his control, as everything from the right-hand side is cut off. He does have one VP at least to stop the... so he doesn't start draining VPs, but right now he's on 500 compared to Stephenn's 485, because he did have that right-hand side VP in the bottom a bit faster than Stephenn had a left-hand side VP. But Stephenn is finally forced off from the right-hand side, but I guess it has cost Sandland quite a lot of munitions and fuel right now.
It's cost him a lot of resources, and it's cost him a lot of time as well. Time that Stephenn should be using right now to be... Well, if I was him, I'd probably be going for bars, honestly. Against double bikes, bars are really going to shred them, and you can be guaranteed that you're not going to be punished for going heavy on the tech.
Yeah, right now Stephenn has barely 80 fuel. There we go. He just broke 80 fuel in the bank, and he's doing some nice focus firing on the bikes here. They're taking quite a lot of small arms fire, and they do go down in health quite rapidly if they're in close combat with the rifleman squads. And the rifles, as long as you keep them in cover somewhat, even especially if you keep them in heavy green cover, the bikes don't really do that much damage. So, but it is very, very mobile. But at this time, it's more Stephenn pressuring Sandland and Sandland trying to pressure Stephenn on his cutoff. You know, look at the map right now. Stephenn has it all almost.
Well, with that cutoff back in Sandland's control, this is actually an okay position for the Wehrmacht player. It's a little bit deceptive because of the size of this strategic point here in the middle. If the US player holds it, it can make it look like he has loads of territory. But in actuality, Sandland has all the territory that he needs as a Wehrmacht player this early on. He's got 2 main +16s, and he's got the +16 fuel. So 2 +16 munitions, +16 fuel. That's more than enough to be playing. Plenty of mines to be safe from an M8, and to have the fuel to get tier 2 up or anything that he really wants in that respect. So it's as long as he can maintain this hold on this right hand side now, he should be okay. But he does also run the risk of getting fast tech with an M8, or just getting flanked because he hasn't had the time. He hasn't had the chance. Stephenn's been applying a lot of pressure. He hasn't had the chance to actually lay very much in the way of mines or wire defenses.
Yeah, not many defenses have gone down that I can see, actually. Apart from that tank trap in the early beginning of the game, he hasn't really done much at all. We did have a rifle trying to flank that MG in the house. Just as the bars popped from Stephenn, I was just going to mention that you were right about the taking choices. So it's bars and triage for Stephenn, so he's going to get all of his infantry nice and healthy now back at base. And he's got the one flamer he's already done, and he does have 50 munitions in the bank. There we go. I think he just started an upgrade on his second engineer squad. Yep. So he's going to go for the double flamers. And maybe, you know, if he starts hitting loads and loads of mines, he might go for a third engineer just to get that minesweeper, because you kind of need it, because there's quite a lot of small gaps on this map. And we can see that Stephenn actually has one mine down, but those Pyos magically missed it.
They managed to, yeah, they waltz right past it. Actually they're gonna grab the cutoff. They may be able to take it, but not for very long. It's a good move by Sandland. It gives him a few extra seconds to delay the next.
Oh, he's gonna retreat through the mine now. What? He just retreated through the hay bale instead. Okay, some magical dodging skills. Magical dodging skill from those Pyos.
So we see we got a sniper now coming out from Sandland. So he's really extending this tier 1. 2 bikes, 2 Volks, 2 MGs, and a sniper with a 3 Pioneer opening.
Too?
Yeah, 2 MGs. if I was Stephenn, honestly, looking into this kind of big tier 1 now, especially with the kind of campy play that we're seeing on this right-hand side, Sandland not really going hard for the cutoff, but instead sticking to the right-hand side, he could either, well, Stephenn could either go very heavy on the infantry and get himself some grenades, especially if Sandland is feeling like he wants to stick in camp near buildings, and then just keep on flanking, or he could go for a WSC.
Nasty, nasty mine takes 2 of the rifles out of the equation. You could see on the minimap that Stephenn was coming in from the north at the same time as he came in from the south with a flamer squad that took a sniper shot to the face, but he actually delivered some flamer damage to the sniper and forced him to retreat back to the HQ because he was just leaving the base basically. But at the same time, those 2 barred rifles were actually stopped. They got suppressed by the mine exploding, so that forced that flank off. So 2 out of the 4 rifles were forced off by just 1 nicely placed mine from Sandland and basically stopped this whole attack. He couldn't really get much done. I think he forced off 1 Volk squad and maybe a Pio. I think he flanked an MG, but that came out of there without barely any health damage whatsoever. And we do have the supply yard coming up for Stephenn, and he did actually build himself a 3rd engineer and gave them some sweepers, and we do have the motor pool coming up now as well.
Oh boy! Active Sniper waltzes right into that mine. He's going to be glad that the Pioneers didn't hit it earlier now. That's a big loss there.
That's the maximum benefit you can get from a mine. Polishing off that enemy sniper.
Yeah, at this point in the game, it couldn't really have gone any better for him. He's still in a dodgy position though, Stephenn. He's only got 2 rifles here in the middle. They're both going to be forced to retreat before they can really do anything. And the pin is going into effect. And there's still a very big tier 1 out from Sandland. He actually built himself another MG and even got himself some support veterancy, going for level 1 support with 3 MGs. So those MGs going to be very, very powerful. I think motor pool is a good idea here. Now that he's already put it up, motor pool would be absolutely fine, and an M8 right now would be very, very nice, or any time in the next couple of minutes an M8 would be very good.
Yeah, he's been fairly conservative with his manpower, so he can afford an M8, which he's actually building right now. He just started producing an M8. He did have the fuel, even after building the supply yard and getting the bars and the triage and the motor pool. He still had enough fuel to get the M8 because he's basically been unharassed. Apart from that 1 Pio squad that whited that cutoff on the left-hand side for Stephenn, he hasn't been harassed more than that. So he's had plenty of fuel income. He's even had the fuel, the little +5 fuel outside of Sandland's base in his control for the entire game almost, and the 5 fuel outside of his own base. So, you know, fuel-wise, he had quite a lot stocked up, so he could afford all of those things.
Nice move by Sandland. If you check out the right-hand side fuel, he's actually building himself a bunker there. It's going to turn into an MG bunker to lock down that right-hand side fuel. Very, very good move. And now here comes the flank. No doctrine chosen yet, but here comes the flank, and just as we've gotten Vet 2 support, that means elite armor MGs. This could be very, very bad for the US.
Nice MG flip, and they're overlapping. Well, he does have 3 of them. 1 in the house at the cutoff, and 2 on the other side of this hedge at Stephenn's cutoff. And Stephenn is coming in from basically every angle, but the only thing that he manages to kill so far is a bike.
He did actually polish off. He polished off a Volk squad as well. But even so, that flank was actually very poorly timed. He had the M8 on the way. That really felt
Smoke is firing down
like
a 1-man rifle squad. He's gonna get away. Lucky rifle.
Stephenn got far too impatient there. If he had just waited another 20 seconds for that M8 to hit the field, he could have routed every unit that Sandland has here, because this M8 is now virtually unchallenged. The only reason why he's not able to go in there straight away is because he's afraid, I think, of some kind of AT tech, so he's playing it quite conservatively, and armor chosen. Very interesting.
Yeah. I saw that his CPs went down, so I wonder what he actually went. But obviously he's gone armor, so he's gone raid, so he can actually cap with Jeeps and M8s as well. So he's gonna get his cutoff back, and these Volks can't really do anything at all to stop him. So that's actually quite a funny move from Stephenn. Quite ingenious, really.
No, that's definitely a good move. I mean, he's Sandland actually chosen defensive, so he's going to be able to reinforce off that bunker. Bunkers, I should say. I mean, it's a huge tier 1 from Sandland. Honestly, it's massive. He must have spent over 1,000 manpower in you know, he's got 3 MGs, 2 bikes, 2 Volks, a sniper, and 2 bunkers, and an additional Pioneer from the usual 2. So it's pretty massive. I mean, he's still got 1 MG left here on the right-hand side, and he's building mines to try and lock down this right-hand side. But I suspect what'll happen now is we'll go into a kind of into a fairly standard Angoville mid game, which sees basically a massive split right down the middle road, which is generally pretty good for Ver if he is given the time to camp up, especially with defensive. 88s on this map can be very, very nasty.
Oh yeah, 88 on this map, especially when placed, well, on either side really. There's not that much to hide behind on the left-hand side, but there's not that much to hide behind on the right-hand side either. You can hide behind, you know, on the middle road by the middle hedge that basically separates the map in two pieces. Or you can hide behind these few buildings. There's only 4 buildings on the right-hand side of the map. 5 if you count the one far to the right-hand side, another one that goes through the wall. There's 6 buildings. But apart from that, there's nothing else to hide behind. There's no hedges splitting up the map more than that. So, you know, if you place an 88 at the 16 fuel or something like that, you can easily reach all the way up to that strategic point and past the BP and everything. Did he just check a nade in the MG house? I think he did. I'm not exactly sure.
I don't believe so. I think that was just the M8
was it
shooting.
M8s, maybe?
Yeah, I think it was just the M8 shooting. That said, I think MGs would probably not be, grenades would not be a bad idea right now. Either MGs or a WSC, because he's going to see very shortly the Cree barracks up, so he can either go, oh no, oh look at how, wow, he's close to that mine.
He's basically parked on top of that mine.
He just wants him to come a little bit closer. He's going to try and bait him with a one-man MG, I think. But
yeah,
it's not gonna get quite close enough.
I wanted to see something miraculous happen, like a Faust go off and at the same time detonate the mine. That would have been awesome. But I guess that didn't happen.
A new MG in the house now. I doubt these rifles are going to be able to do too much to it, especially if they do hit that mine, which they do. That's going to force a retreat. But miraculously, he doesn't lose any men. He's going to be able to heal those up right away.
The bunker of the cutoff is finally destroyed by a flamethrower engineer that Stephenn actually put on that bunker to destroy it. It took him quite a while, but he managed to destroy it. But Sandland never actually bothered to upgrade it with anything, as he lost the whole of the cutoff due to that M8. Here comes another attack now with an M8. There's 2 barred rifles to help out as well, and I do believe he almost gets around that MG. It packs up, doesn't retreat, however. When he does see the grenade timer go off, he does retreat the MG eventually. I think he was trying to move it first, but he didn't see the grenade until just the last second when he retreated. But this MG bunker now is going to be hard to dislodge, especially if it's a defensive bunker.
It is a defensive bunker,
so long.
So it's not really viable to take it out with an M8. It would literally take whole minutes. Sandland does have a pack moving up, but he's really moving it up far into enemy territory without any proper support here. He's got he's got an MG bunker and a fixed MG in the building, but that's it.
Well, Stephenn saw it quite clearly, and he wanted to go for it with the Flamer engineers, just as his Sweeper engineers is capping its retreated point. But it actually got just in the arc of fire of that MG bunker, and they just clipped him on the side, and he actually got suppressed, so he couldn't get close enough to that pack. Because if he would have gotten off a nice Flamer burst, a nice Flamer critical, he could have decrewed that pack, and then the M8 could have rolled in and just dislodged everything else. So Sandland a little bit lucky. He actually did reveal his pack now, so the M8 is most likely going to be played more passively by Stephenn now and maybe go on the left-hand side instead.
Vet 1 for infantry is now hit the field for Sandland. A little surprising given he only has a single Volk on the field right now, but he is building a Grenadier, so potentially we're going to be seeing a bit of a heavy infantry build transition now for Sandland. Into sort of more Grenadiers and possibly Vet 2 further down the line. He does have the fuel for it. He's sitting on 150 fuel right now, so as long as he can preserve his manpower, he can really tech in whatever way he likes.
Here comes the M8 now on the left-hand side. We did have a barred rifle trying to flank around. Vet 1 bar rifle. I do believe that's the only veterancy Stephenn has on his units right now. Yep, that's the only veteran squad. So the M8 now has been relocated to the left-hand side instead of the right-hand side after seeing that pack and trying to flame it out, but was unsuccessful. So now he's just basically forcing off everything from left-hand side instead due to that M8. And there's basically no counter, no Shrek on the Gren, and the pack is on the right-hand side, way too far away to be able to respond to a threat like a very nice, fast, speedy M8.
Looks like we're still seeing attempts to flank here up in the top right-hand corner. We've got 2 rifles trying to come in. One of them is going to get suppressed. The Volks should be able to keep the other one at bay, but Stephenn is actually going to go in, but there's a nice MG target switch there. Both rifles now suppressed. I would be surprised if he doesn't retreat. He's going to throw a nade, not seen by Sandland until it's too late. 2 losses incurred.
Yeah, but he did get the retreat modifiers, which was lucky because that grenade it landed basically smack in the middle of all the Volks that were covering you know, just behind that little cart that was in the middle of that field for the yellow cover. But he did actually kill what I believe was a Pio in the building just below the strategic points, just to the left of the VP, because I saw a 2-3 XP pop up where after a flamer burst just went in, and they basically insta-critted, I believe, what was a Pio squad. That M8, however, on the left-hand side at the cutoff, hit a mine, got a destroyed engine, and that Grenadier squad from Sandland now actually does have a strike. He plants
he laid
an M8
mine,
and he doesn't see. I don't think Sandland actually notices. He grenades the engineers, everything explodes, but the M8 mine is still intact underneath the M8 carcass. Basically underneath. Hopefully Sandland can remember that if he saw it, because he might have been microing something else at the time that the M8 mine was actually planted, and he only microed over there to throw that grenade on engineers afterwards. So hopefully he won't use that the M8 carcass as green cover, because that's going to be a bad surprise whoever going to take green cover behind that.
Some pioneers are going to go and try and salvage the munitions off that later on in the game, and just they won't even have a chance. They'll be dead before they hit the floor. So, WSC now coming up from Stephenn. A good choice, although somewhat belated. I mean, we've got, Vet 2 infantry is now on the way. I think after having seen Vet 2 MGs, you've really got to say to yourself, right, there is only one hard counter to this, and that is snipers. I think a little bit lacking, really, for the snipers not to be coming out until, the 20-minute mark. Also, mortar would probably do just as well, but the sniper tends to be the weapon of choice for most players. So here we go. Here's Vet 2.
Mortar could be good against the defensive bunkers.
Mortar, yeah, it could be good against defensive bunkers indeed, and it doesn't elite armor doesn't matter if you're dropping a mortar on them. It's the same, elite armor or not. But all the same, I think I'd rather go for a sniper because it tends to force a bit more of a reaction. It's a bit more of a psychological weapon than a mortar.
Yeah, and it's easier to target all of the very mobile squads like the Volk and the Grens, for example. And, especially if you're killing Vet 2 Grens, there's still just Vet 1. No, Vet 2 has landed for Sandland's infantry, so killing Vet 2 Grenadiers generally makes the US sniper vet up quite rapidly. And, everybody knows that Vet 3 ally snipers are just impossible to catch as they run cloaked.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a long way off, especially if, Stephenn's really just pinned in his base right now, and with all the bunkers and forward HQs and the defensive bunkers and stuff that's out there, it's going to be really tough for one sniper to actually pick his way through.
But it seems that one sniper is enough. It's forcing Sandland to relocate. He took one sniper casualty on a Vol squad, nonetheless, and he still relocates his whole front line.
Sandland's getting nice and camped down here on the right-hand side. He's putting down some wire near his base to try and prevent any kind of sneaky shenanigans from rifles trying to take the long flank around the bottom.
Yeah, Stephenn has done it a few times during this battle, actually gone around there and stuck around at the hedges. I saw him chuck a grenade in the house. I just caught the aftermath of it. But it only killed one crewman there of the MG. That heroic armor really protects you against grenades, I guess. Oh, nice grenade on the Vet 2 Grenadiers on the right-hand side. Forces them to retreat, and that pack is in the danger zone right now. If Stephenn only knew, and the third pack Luger guy actually reveals himself, but Stephenn is busy trying to flank this MG now from Sandland, which has relocated and done a nice flip, but it is going to be forced to retreat. But due to Vet 2, I think they're out of harm's way when it comes to dying completely, at least.
Well, Stephenn's sniper is in a very dangerous location. I'm not sure I can condone that. He's putting him right in the middle of the field, perilously close to where that cloaked pack was. But yeah, he's got to be careful.
Does that happen? That was patched out. The third guy, the Luger guy, the crazy Luger guy that could.
The crazy Luger guy was patched out, but they can still reveal each other.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Who reveals themselves first? Who has the longest decloak radius?
They have the same decloak radius, I believe. Packs and snipers, at least at Vet 1. There's a nice grenade. There's a nice pineapple.
Ooh,
you can see
very
that
nice.
Going to be a nice one there, because the grenadiers are just at that nice little health threshold where you can get quite a few kills at once.
And we're nice and clumped up as well, just as the pineapple exploded and did quite a lot of damage to the Grenadiers and actually killed two of the guys, and the bars polished off the third guy. So it only retreats with a sliver of health. At the same time, we do have a larger engagement with some flamers, the barred rifles coming in from 2 directions, combined with a barred rifle going for the cutoff, actually not actually attacking, but for the fatherland is popped to try and actually hold off the advances from Stephenn's infantry. But he's going to get the cutoff away from Sandland.
Calliope!
Oh, I was surprised, Calliope.
This feels early. 22 minutes for a Cali. That's
He went straight for the Cali.
That
Nothing
just feels
else.
really early. I can't remember seeing a Cali this early. He's got to be careful though. Stephenn's sniper is firing sort of constantly, and the Axis sniper is around, going for the counter sniper. There it is.
Oh, nice
and easy counter snipe for him. He'd fired several times in the past there, not taking due care. But Stephenn did manage to take the house, but I don't know how long he's going to be able to last in there with his sniper popping away at him.
The sniper is a problem. It's going to force him to actually retreat instantly. He's just going to hang around and take casualty after casualty due to that sniper. And he can't really do anything to counterattack it, because that was the only infantry that he had behind enemy lines with that 1 rifleman squad in that building. But yeah, very nice and early Calliope. He got 5 nice kills and did a little bit of damage to that MG bunker that is holding the right-hand side fuel for Sandland, combined with some mines and other defensive positions. But yeah, I think that Sandland is doing the correct thing. He's branching out to the left-hand side, forcing Stephenn to either, focus on the left-hand side, and that's not going to really get him anything new. It's just going to give him back the same territories that they had before. But at the same time, he can't just let them be there, because they will eventually cap up the whole way to his base. So, either it forces him to split up, which means he's weaker on both fronts, or he's going to have to basically go all on the left-hand side to reclaim all of the territories there. And that's going to mean that Sandland can just build more defense on the right-hand side. So either way, bad position to be for Stephenn.
Yeah, with the allied sniper gone, Sandland is free to keep advancing, but I do love this Cali, and he's going to have to fire again now. But it's a brilliant choice given the situation facing him, especially with a very campy Vanguard player. Again, a nice Calliope barrage into a couple of Grenadiers, doing heavy health damage to an MG there.
Those Vet 2 MGs are brutal. They're very survivable, I have to say.
Very survivable. They fire very quickly. They have a lower cooldown. All round, they're just very powerful tools. But a nice grenade here. These Vet 2 rifles over here on the left-hand side with 14 infantry kills. I'm interested. We actually have 1 supplied upgrade in for Stephenn, so Vet 3 may not be totally impossible for him to get.
It's not miles away when he's got 14 kills and he's killing Vet 2 Grenadiers with grenades. So, he's getting quite a lot of XP. So his rifles might hit Vet 3 eventually. But these MGs is a big trouble. I think he needs to utilize something else from the WSC. What do you think? Another sniper, or fish for the counter snipe and then pluck away again?
Go for another sniper. I wouldn't bother trying to go for the counter snipe, because it's not the sniper that's causing him the problems right now. The Axis sniper is a relatively low-key unit, especially at this point in the game. His priority would be to avoid getting counter-sniped himself while taking out the gunner on the MG, and then using that window of opportunity to keep flanking the MGs. Eventually Sandland will realize, and he'll have to position them much more defensively. Instead, he's able to use them very aggressively.
Yeah, he's actually gone for a tank depot, and his first Sherman has been produced, and it's just hanging out just outside of the tank depot. He's not using it yet. I'm not exactly sure if he's saving for something else, because right now he's actually pop cap, so he might as well get that thing into battle. But I think that, if you don't get a sniper, getting that Sherman might be a decent idea from Stephenn, considering there's not that many forms of AT on the field. There's 1 Shrek and a pack, is that it?
Yeah, there's 1 Shrek in a pack. I think that's the limit. And wow,
nice
even with for the Frontline, that Cali did a lot of damage. There's a nice grenade right on top of the MG there from an unvetted rifle, unvetted as of yet. MG gets recruited instantly, but that leaves one perilously low.
Oh, nice grenade again on MG. Oh, that's quite a lot of damage. Very low health, and kills it while he's packing up. That MG is gone. Sadly, Stephenn not able to steal it himself, but at least he got rid of 1 of the 3 MGs. Good victory, because those MGs have been quite a pain in the butt for Stephenn, I think.
Killing an MG is a big deal. Unfortunately for him, he's still got another 2 to take out before he is totally free to blob his rifles around the map. So he's going to have to keep on his toes, but taking out 1 MG is always good, especially when one of the MGs is being left on guard duty here on the right-hand side. I think Sandland's missing a bit of a trick, though, here, honestly, because he's got this MG bunker, which covers the fuel anyway. Getting to the cutoff is very, very difficult at this stage in the game. If I was him, I would move everything to the left. Don't bother leaving any MGs or Volks or packs here on defensive duty. Just shift everything to the left and push hard. Instead, he's kind of split up.
Volk is retreating at 1 man, but the Sherman doesn't do the trick and can't polish him off on retreat. He missed the 1-man Volk squad on retreat, and the pack opens up on that Sherman. He's already down to 50% health after taking 3 shots or so to the frontal armor of that Sherman. But there is the Calliope, and I think he might be lining up to take out that pack. And if he does take out that pack, that basically leaves no AT on the right-hand side, apart from a mine here or there. He's trying to get it.
Detonated at the fuel
One
and
guy,
the Cali.
2 guys.
Very
Pack
accurate
through.
shells.
Wow,
Wow, almost destroyed the pack.
destroyed.
Yeah.
And this MG is now going to be forced to retreat again. So all of the units from Sandland is going to be on the left-hand side, as everything has been taken out from the right-hand side. That pack and the MG is forced to relocate due to the threat of a Sherman shooting you in the face. You got to run away then. So it's very, very ballsy MG guy though. He's just reinforcing from that bunker, and here comes the sniper to help out as well.
Oh, and there's registered artillery on the Vet 2 rifles at the VP, and there's a Calliope and a Sherman right near them. This could be really bad for the Vet 2 rifles.
No! Very late retreat down to 1 man on both squads, and he magically manages to survive that.
Did he survive? Oh, the icon left my screen, so I couldn't tell. It looked like he lost it.
He's still alive, he's still alive. 1 man from each squad is actually still alive. Somehow he managed to keep them all alive. That was a nice rigged RD from Sandland, however. Everything was clumped up there, and I bet Stephenn was looking at something on the left-hand side. I did see that there was a smaller engagement with a flamer engineer that was actually taken out by focus firing from Grenadiers. So he lost one of his flamer engines, which leaves him now... That's a second flamer engine that Stephenn has lost, so he's down to that 1 sweeper engine now to repair his tanks, and he actually kind of needs another engine, I think. If he's going to go for more TD units, at least.
Well, here's a little twist for you. We have Tier 4 up from Sandland now. Tier 4 Panzer Command is up, and judging by the way that he's floating a bit of manpower, I have a sneaky suspicion he may be going for a Panther.
Panther? Well, Panther's going to be the answer, isn't it?
Panther would be a very good counter, although he's either left his Panzer Command half built,
died.
or it got killed. Oh, I see. Okay.
The Pioneers took increased damage due to building, I guess, and one of the rockets from the Calliope just nailed him on the head. That was basically game over for those Pios.
That is...
These grenades are really helping Stephenn. That was forcing all of the Grenadiers away. Without the grenades, they could have easily taken out all of those barred rifles on the left-hand side of the map here. But he's moving out in force now with 2 Grenadiers, one with a Shrek upgrade and a Volt Quad as well, against these very damaged barred rifles from Stephenn. He might get the cap, but not much more than that.
He's going to go for another grenade here.
Oh, there it is. But Sandland is on top of that. Very easily dodged. Ooh, do you see Stephenn? He just mined off that MG that got decrewed on the right-hand side. So he just mined it because he's got nothing over there to actually cap it. So at least it's going to do quite a bit of damage to him. And if Sandland goes there with a Grenadier, for example, and hits the mine, loses 1 guy, and then the recrew still goes in, that's just terrible. You get your MG back, but you lose a Grenadier.
Yeah,
Sneaky.
Whoa, whoa! Grenadier sniped.
By a tank, nonetheless, and he's gonna go park on the Shrek now. He's actually, oh, you gotta move back and forth, so the Grens can't get it. They just grab it under the threads of the tank and runs away. I bet Stephenn thought that Shrek was not going to be able to get picked up, but they do have a small radius where you can actually pick up heavy weaponry.
Yeah, you got to keep moving around, and then you'll either crush them all or force him to move away. But yeah, no, that was unfortunate. But he still got the whole kill. And actually, if you look at Sandland's forces now, he's really been whittled down. He does have a Panther on the way. It's about 60% of the way done. But he's down to just 2 Grenadiers, 1 MG, 1 Sniper, and 1 Volk. And that's it for fighting units.
Wow.
So
where did he lose all the squads all of a sudden? I don't know.
I think it was the grenades, you know? The grenades doing a lot of work for him, and then the Sherman picking away squads. Another squad lost, you know, just a second ago. So
MG on the right-hand side, packed by the Calliope, for example.
Yeah,
as well.
Exactly. I think he's leaning very heavily on this Panther to come out and do a lot of legwork, and I think it will do a lot of legwork. Although there is still that 157 which he has to watch out for.
Yeah,
Oh, another nice
157.
Register artillery, but this time it was spotted by Stephenn and he retreated in good time, didn't lose any men.
Used at a strategic point as well, so Stephenn had, you know, no business hanging around when the Rega RD comes down. Just get out of the way, get out of the way. We did have actually the upgun coming for the Shermans from Stephenn, so maybe he smells that tier 4 building. He might have seen it when he used the Calliope barrage in the base. Might that have been some form of a scouting attempt? You know, you can see what you damage in the fog of war, can't you not?
Yeah, I guess he probably saw the.
So maybe he's expecting a like a P4, but now he knows.
The upgun is always good. Yeah, he knows the Panther's here, so we're going to be seeing stickies, no doubt, very shortly. But he's
they
actually.
were tech before, actually. I think he was.
They? Okay.
Yeah, he was.
Oh yeah, I saw him reach
for one.
For a while. I saw him just reach for one there, so he's got the stickies already. Well, that's going to help. If he can either at this point he can spam AT guns, which would be perfectly fine. Although he would need to deal with a sniper.
Calliope on the Panther, I think.
But they're all going to miss.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, he did actually take out the MG crew on that MG.
So
I think the last remaining MG for Sandland gets taken out by Calliope barrage. One by one, he is killing Sandland's army, but he's not leading in VPs. That is the main problem for Stephenn right now. And as Sandland still has the right-hand side in, you know, fairly good control, he's going to continue bleeding unless he can actually break the hole on the right-hand side and get, you know, preferably both VPs, so you can get a triple cap on Sandland, as he's still at 271 VPs, 33 minutes into the game.
I think we're going to be looking at some tank battles fairly shortly. We have a Panzer IV just completed now, and Vet 1 tanks are already, they've been here for a few minutes now for Sandland, so he's got 2 big tanks out from his Panzer Command now. They're going to be going up against a couple of big tanks from Stephenn. He's opted to go for 1 Sherman and, interestingly, 1 Hellcat after that. Honestly, the upgun is almost on a par with the M10 / Hellcat main gun in terms of its fighting armor properties. So generally speaking, if you're going to buy the upgun, you may as well just keep on spamming Shermans, especially if you've got access to Allied War Machine, which of course Stephenn does.
Yes, he does. But I think it's a fuel issue right now. He's getting his second Hellcat now, which is just produced. Wow, they build so fast when you're armored 3, actually. The armor doctrine makes you pump out these tank destroyers like crazy. That was so quick. I could literally see it just get completed in maybe, I don't know, 15 seconds or something. It just went so rapidly. That was fairly impressive. I've never seen it build that fast.
Here comes the Panther.
The P4 and Panther. We do have a Sherman coming in from the rear. Gonna get nice armor there off it. But there are mines, and there's a Shrek on one of the grounds. But here comes the Hellcat now. The second Hellcat is still just outside of Stephenn's base. Here comes a Calliope barrage at the same time. All over the place. This P4 might get nailed by a few rockets if it doesn't move away. Oh, it takes quite a few hits there. Allied War Machine popped by Stephenn, and the Hellcat, one of them, is very badly damaged.
Wow, there's an 88 up. This
Whoa,
is
where did that come from?
I have no idea, but he managed to get it up. But he might yet be able to take out the Panther. I don't know. The Hellcat doesn't get the last shot off. Very unfortunate there.
Allied War Machine gives Stephenn back both of his tanks, actually, and that Sherman is destroyed as well, however. So he got 2 Hellcats, but not the Sherman back. And the 57 is taking flak from the 88, which got a nice long-range hit on it and takes out the gun, which leaves Stephenn with no AT apart from the respawned Hellcats and stickies on his rifles. New Calliope.
Now, if I was Stephenn, I would send those Hellcats right back into it to kill the Panther, because otherwise they're just going to get repaired again. I mean,
88!
Well, there is a 88, but it can't kill them fast enough, I don't think.
They're so paper armor,
he's going to try and cally it to death, but he's a little bit off target. He's not going to quite get it. That was it was pretty good, honestly, for Sandland. He's going to be able to go in there and salvage a lot of wrecks, get himself back a lot of munitions. And Stephenn, unfortunately, wasn't able to accomplish very much. I think the luck kind of rolled against him there. I think it was a good attack in theory, which should have really killed off that Panther. But he couldn't have known about the 88. That was a nice read there by Sandland.
Yeah, the 88 really tipped the tide of that battle to Sandland's favor quite easily. But now the Hellcats are just trolling around in the backfield. I'm not exactly sure.
You could go for a base rush, actually. You could go for a base rush, take down the Panzer Command. It's not totally out of the question, but yeah, it's a problem with Hellcats. Their squishing capabilities are lacking, to say the least.
Compared to the M10, it's just not the same thing. It's not the same.
No, they're not the same. That said, you know, you do see pretty much everyone uses Hellcats nowadays, just because it's it's sort of the question of whether you'd rather have really good ability to crush, or would you like to have not misfiring every single shell?
Would you like to have a tank that actually fires every single shot that it's supposed to fire and doesn't just fire blanks or something? What do you think if they actually made... I know that Relic has talked about making some form of patches for Vico very briefly, no official word as far as I know, but someone just mentioned something.
I'd be very cautious about treading down that road. I don't think.
But if someone or something would fix the M10 misfire bug, which one would people prefer?
Everyone would go for the M10s. Everyone would go for the M10s because
easy choice.
Easy choice, I'd say. The Hellcat would still be faster. The Hellcat actually it got majorly buffed in terms of its speed. It's now one of the fastest tanks, if not the fastest tank in the game. It's not something that most people notice, but it's incredibly quick. It's got good acceleration. But even so, an M10 without misfire, I would take any day over the ability to cloak, just because crushing is not only a heck of a lot of fun, but is strategically very viable in a lot of situations and can be maddening for your opponent.
Especially when you get your Shrek wins crushed all the time, and just like I needed that Shrek.
Just look at those, look at those Grens all in a little crater there. They would be ripe for a bit of M10 squish.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it apart from retreating, basically.
Yeah, retreating is tends to be your only option against that. So Panther is back in 100% health. Vet 2 as well, so he's got the AMG gunner up on the top.
Yep. So does the P4. Is also fully repaired back up to snuff again. It looks really good. But here comes Stephenn now.
Yeah, big wave coming in.
Not exactly sure how he's going to be able to break this, considering that 88 is still in that backfield. And with for the Fatherland, yeah, it's just impossible to kill anything, especially if it's Vet 2 Grens. They're just way too powerful for the Fatherland.
I think he's doing a good job with his, is it 2 Calliopes? Yeah, 2 Calliopes. I think he's doing a good job with those. I think he could eventually, given enough time, attrition down Sandland. But the big problem for him is, of course, VPs, because he just slipped under 100.
Yeah, Stephenn needs to make a move, and he kind of needs to make it fairly quickly, because he can't really sit around any longer now and lose more VPs, because yeah, he needs to make the move. He needs to break the defenses, otherwise he's just going to drain down to 0 without being able to do anything about it. He needs to make something happen. He's got a 3rd Hellcat produced right now, so he might be trying to just break it with quantity. And there goes the M8 mine, actually finally explodes. And it is, as you said, a very poor Pyro squad that took the brunt of the force right all over their bodies, died instantly. Both of the guys, insta-dead. Bye-bye.
Wow, these engineers having a bad time.
Very, very expensive Pyro kill, though. 50 munitions for a Pyro kill.
Well, at least he killed something, right? I mean,
yeah,
it could have missed everything entirely. So another...
Actually, Sniper's in trouble. Oh, it took a rocket to the face to survive. Magically, he's very low health.
with triple Hellcats now and field repairs. This is an expensive attack for Stephenn. He needs to have it pay off. One of the Hellcats gets his main gun back, cakes it out. I don't know what he's going for now. I think he's actually going for the 88 itself.
Does have a lot of gun health, however. It's going to take him quite a while to destroy it. And that Hellcat is actually preferring to fire at the Panther that takes it out. And there goes the Allied War Machine. He got 2 tanks back. But it's last Hellcat. Oh, M8 miss, or the 88 misfires.
Oh no, target priority is screwing
him
over.
Shoot him! Oh, so close. Come on, Calliopes.
The Calliope should be able to finish it off. But the question is, I mean, well, actually, he's got 2 Hellcats back straight away. Could go and send them in. Again, I don't know. Half health Panther and like 1 shot away from death 88 versus 2 Hellcats. I don't know who wins that. If you throw the Callies into it though, I bet the US player would have the edge.
Now he can afford field repairs yet again, but Allied War Machine is both on cooldown and it's too expensive for Stephenn's blood right now. So, but he needs to make a move. 49 VPs for Stephenn compared to Sandland's 271. He hasn't moved an inch since we checked last time. So yeah, Stephenn needs to do it now. He needs to go. Come on, Stephenn.
Yeah, the window of opportunity is running out. As soon as you start slipping below
it's getting smaller and smaller.
About 20 VPs, your opponent can just suicide stuff to keep you off the VPs, even if, you know, in a longer game, theoretically, you would still win. So here comes Calliopes now, but it's at such a long range that most of them are missing the 88 entirely. It does force the repairing pioneers to retreat, but that's about it. This could be a good move, though, here. This is a good move. Rifles going up. They could be able to decrew the 88. He needs to send in those Hellcats at the same time, though. And it's a Pershing as well.
On the field as well.
This could be a really good move now by Stephenn. I'm liking the look of this. If he can
88
decrew
through.
and steal this 88 now.
Here we go. Allied War Machine popped. He saved up for that before he went in. He didn't fancy the field repairs. He wanted the Allied War Machine, and he's sending these two Hellcats now against the Panther. Combined with us Pershing, this Panther is in deep, deep trouble. He's very low health right now. Main gun destroyed on one of the Hellcats, but the 88 still remains uncrewed. Main gun destroyed, and the Panther goes down.
These rifles are desperately trying to keep the Grenadiers away from the 88, trying to stop them from getting back. That was a great attack there by Stephenn. He's run into brick wall after brick wall, but finally he cracked it now. And he's got the 88, destroyed it. There's a big loss for him, but there's another Panther out now, so this could get very interesting. Where the Panther at bet 2 will beat a Pershing, but not if you throw in an additional Hellcat.
And he can't afford anything in the ways of, you know...
Oh, that's a nice Cali barrage. Nice Cali barrage with nice circle strafing from the M18 as well. A damaged engine now, but there's Shreks and all sorts all over the place. Oh, destroyed engine. He's
you gotta keep in mind, 19
here.
DPs from Stephenn. He's trying to cap it, but we do have a defensive barrage. He does white the VP outside of Sandland's base, but then the rifles die due to the Ragged Arty. And at the same time, we do have a one-man MG guarding the VP in the north, and he's got nothing over there to cap with. He can't cap with his tanks, even though he's got Raid, that's only for light vehicles. He's gonna get the VP in the south with a Vet 2 rifle, but apart from that, there's nothing else to guard it. The Panther remains alive. Very, very low health with a destroyed engine, however.
Oh no, he needs to... The left-hand side VP got capped as well. He needs to prevent the bolts taking it at the same time as getting back this one in the top. I don't know how he's going to do this. This is
Sandland's army is gone. He's got nothing. I see 4 infantry units. 3.
He's gonna steal it. He's gonna
2
take
VPs.
it. He's gonna take it.
Ah, that's the game. The VP's drained for Stephenn down to 0. 2 in Sandland's favor, and he was actually capping the 3rd one as well. It was just too little, too late. The attack, he waited for Allied War Machine instead of using field repairs, which, you know, in retrospect, was a bad idea. He could have made it with only field repairs as he decrewed 88 with the rifles. But, you know, you never know that beforehand. There could have been the MGs or whatever defending that 88 that he hasn't seen before, and he would have never gotten close to it with the rifles in the first place. So, you know, it was a gamble. Sadly, it didn't pay off because he had no infantry to back it up and start capping the VPs. And a little Pio squad, I guess, you know, kind of heroic Pio squad from Sandland nicked the VP on the left-hand side.
Yeah, I feel bad for Stephenn. You know, I feel bad for him. I feel like he had this one in the bag, but he just left it just a little bit too long. I think if he had kept his sniper alive, then perhaps, you know, that would have just delayed things a little bit longer for Sandland. It would have made him a lot harder to get a foothold, and then he would have taken it a lot earlier. But yeah, Sandland stuck in there, and he put up a great defense.
Very, very strong, solid defense from Sandland. It did break a few times during the game, mostly due to that one Calliope barrage that decrewed the pack in one go, and then with the Sherman moving in and basically forcing everything else off. But then he just switched sides, which forced Stephenn to switch sides, and then he just reclaimed the right, you know, sneakily in the middle of darkness, in the middle of night. He just went there and just like, it's mine again. I don't know. Stephenn never got a strong foothold on the right-hand side.
Yeah, it was very well played though by both players, and a very enjoyable game. Good to see that we're still getting the good games rolling, even in this new and slightly underpopulated patch.
Yes.
As we wait for the next stage of the beta from Relic, of course, as we're making this, Relic put out a new closed beta purely for stress test purposes. It's not tied by a legal NDA, but we have been bound on the basis of trust not to leak any details, but it is free for anyone to enter. Just send an email to co2servertest@relic.com. Send an email there and you'll get an automated response. As long as there are still spots left by the time that you're seeing this, possibly all the spots will have been filled. I know they only want a very select number of people to join it, but you can get another taste of CO2 if you are absolutely chomping at the bit to get your hands on it.
Yeah, and without further ado, thanks guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and comment, leave a comment, and tell us what you like and dislike. We'll see you guys for the next episode.
See you guys.